Hey, what's going on, folks?
Hi.
What's going on? How y'all doing? What y'all doing? What? Listen!
I don't care how your week was. You don't care how my week was. We are only here to talk about the sheer faggotry that is Wicked.
Babe, listen. I'm sorry. So there was more that went along with my look. Give me a second. I'm gonna go ahead and get this together. Hold on. Because there's a magical piece to it. Okay, I'm sorry. Wait a minute. All right. Okay. So let me do this. Let me take this out. Let me turn this down for a minute.
Okay. All right. Come on. Come on.
And we can still hit that note.
Baby.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
It's God.
So listen. Everybody. I don't know who has or has not gone to see Wicked, but I am going to recommend that you get a little Wicked in your life.
Right.
So let's start with that.
Let's start with we both went in like, I mean, sure, it's something to do.
We were like, yeah, all right, come on, girl. This is what we do all the time. Like when we go to this is what we do. This is how we do stuff. We get in there, we'll be like, all right, yeah, okay, whatever. We'll be good. A couple of times we've gone into movie theaters and the air conditioning and the filter system and all that type of shit, the air, sometimes it caused some stuff to go on. And I mean, it's a medical condition. So I just want people to understand that it has happened a few times. And, it's okay because, it's a medical condition. We have been scarred or we were injured. And we're not supposed to talk about a whole bunch because there are lawyers involved and,
exactly.
we can't talk about all that.
So however, I just want to be clear that for at least the next 30 to 45 minutes, there are vicious spoilers for Wicked.
Yes. Matter of fact, let me go and put this on Facebook right now. So tell people listen, if you're tuning into the show, matter of fact, let me put this in here right now. If you're tuning into the show, there will be some spoilers for it. I'm going to post this in the chat here.
Very much. And I would actually like to start with a tickety talk.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna just post this. All right, there we go. We're gonna go ahead and post that out there and put that all across so that everybody know what's going on. Okay. So here we go. Let's go down this rabbit hole. Let's do the tickety talkities.
All right.
Am I the only one who's convinced that the original Wizard of Oz cast is gonna make cameos in Wicked Part 2, kind of like how Adina and Kristen made cameos in Part 1? I don't think that the original Dorothy actress will play Dorothy because she's obviously probably much older now. But imagine her as someone in Oz or something like that. Am I the only one?
Girl,
listen.
It's too slow because so here's the thing. So the girls was letting them have it.
First off, where the fuck have you been that you don't know that the motherfucking Wizard of Oz, number one, the Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
Right. And then 19 people were laughing at him and he was like, well, how was I supposed to know that the movie came out in 1939? I was like, how could you not know that the movie came out in 1939? I'm like, girl.
But you think some of the original, and here's the thing, there may be a few extras that are still living, maybe, possibly, maybe
if you, well, so
but here's the
2039 would be 100 years. So we are 14 years. So that means the movie came out about 84 years ago. So unless they were, children, like young kids, like 10 or under, they would not know anything about this. And then so he was like, but the movie came out in 1939. Some people gotta still be around. I was like, nobody that was an adult in that movie is still alive, because even Judy Garland was like 25 years old in the movie. And for her to be like, yeah, like Judy Garland to come back, I was like, Judy Garland has been dead since the 50s, sir.
Listen, this is why when people say, I believe the children are our future, I'm like,
I hope this isn't the future, because girl, we are fucked.
Because y'all are just, and there's a part of me that when we were in that age bracket, there's a part of me that was like I would hear our parents say, well, no, this is a remake, and no, this is that, and such did this before. Like the first time I saw A Star Is Born, I was like, this is a remake, and I was like, what? They do remakes? Like right. All this type of stuff. And then when
but there's a difference between A Star Is Born and fucking Wizard of Oz.
All I'm saying is I'm putting it into perspective for our age bracket. That's all that I'm doing. I'm putting it into perspective for our age bracket. So, or here's another one. So remember that song that Diana Ross did back in I want to say like 84, 5, 6 or whatever. It was called "Why Do Fools Fall in Love."
Mm-hmm.
So again, I didn't know that was at that time. I didn't know it was a remake. And so my mother was like, "Oh, this is just remakes," and I was like, "What?" So it's like that sort of stuff. But then when you said that to me, I was like, "Okay, well, all right. Let me see if I can find the original. I'll listen to it." I'm like, "Oh, okay, this is a remake." And I moved on. But I have a feeling with some of these children, some of them, this gentleman might be a part of that some. I don't think he has any perspective at all about a remake or aging, or I'm concerned about our future. I am. I'm just concerned. That's just where I'm at. That's all I got.
I really just feel like that is easily Googleable information.
Listen, and we're in 2024 and the internet is at our fingertips. And like, I think our generation was the last generation that is here and had access to, I'm sorry, we were the one generation that had access to Jesus, I can't even get it together. We are the last generation that did not have access to the internet, but do have access to it. Because every generation after us has always known the internet to be available.
Do you know how hard it used to be able to find pictures of naked people?
Let's listen. Let's start with this. You want to find some information? If you couldn't go to that Encyclopedia Britannica that your parents have spent $9,000 on to make sure they get a brand new set and is updated, and if you were not at home and didn't have an encyclopedia at home and you couldn't make it to the library, and then you didn't know how to look it up in a card catalog to figure out what the hell you was looking at, or look at some microfiche, maybe I don't know what to tell you. You just wasn't gonna find it at all.
So picture it. I got something came in the mail. Get a set of Encyclopedia Britannica for only $2.95.
I already know where this is going.
I have $2.95. So I fill that shit out. And then here come the Encyclopedia Britannica people at the door. And they're like, with the first volume. And then they're like, yeah, your son or somebody in this household named Brian. At which point my mother gives me the Joan Crawford.
Like, Barbara, please!
Brian. speak to you in the other room.
See, here's the thing. At least your mom did it slow and methodical. My mother was like, it was either one extreme or the other. It was either she was gritting her teeth and trying to talk in between, or just yelling. Or usually it was the grit the teeth first to get to the yell. So it's like I knew when she started this, I was like, oh shit, let me run. Let me go. Just run. Just go. Run.
Well, for whatever reason, they allowed themselves to be sold on buying a set of Encyclopedia Britannica for like $300 in the late 70s, early 80s. But that was also why I was no longer able to get the mail.
Get the mail. Don't touch this mailbox. I done fixed it.
Exactly. I know if it been touched.
I know if it been touched. I done fixed it.
But anyway, back to Oz. So you're wearing your green, and I am wearing my pink in favor. Now, I'm more of an alphabet kind of person, but we had somebody had to do green, someone had to be pink. So here we are.
This is where we are. But to be clear, I also would identify with an alphabet. Let's be clear.
Of course.
But in the grand scheme of things, when you think about the movie itself, they literally could have easily slid into the other person's shoes. Which is another theme of this movie, as far as I'm concerned. But we'll
right. They're really just two sides of the same coin.
Right.
So I'll do a point, and then you'll do a point. And I feel like my point, because I remember when the movie first started, even like during the first scene, I was like, girl, if we was high this scene, so like every point I'm gonna be like, so my first point, it's like weird to me that they loved Emerald City and everything about it, but a green bitch was too much for them. That didn't make no sense to me.
And the counterpoint is, yes, I'm green all over. Yes, I've always been green.
No, it's not contagious.
And no, it's not contagious.
No, it won't rub off on you.
Oh, so yeah, that part I don't understand either. And that's that was another one. And it's just like, baby, this is where we are. And not to mention that you had creatures. I'm just gonna say creatures.
Whole ass animals
that were having conversations and teaching and talking.
And I think I posted, it might still actually be on my page. It's like y'all had whole talking animals and shit, people floating around in bubbles, all kinds of crazy shit. But someone who was green was too much for y'all. That was like, what?
Yeah, I don't really get it. I don't get it.
So your point.
I don't get it. So
you got to take a puff.
Please hold. These are just accoutrements just for display. I just want y'all to know that.
Mm-hmm. Epic Onyx, actual drug addict.
Okay. Was it that they couldn't take that she was green, or did they want to be green?
That's some deep shit right there. That is some deep shit right there. Okay. So it was a little jealousy going on.
Mm-hmm. I have always been. This is our show. We say what the fuck we want to say. Mm-hmm. I have always been of the mindset that when people don't like you because of your race, skin color, orientation, to me, one of the thoughts that always comes in my mind is like, well, baby, what are you fighting with? Are you mad? Like, are you jealous? Like, I literally have that type of thought pattern going on in my mind. I don't know if it's my upbringing. I don't know if it's where I'm from. I don't know if it was my mother, my family. I don't know who it is, but I cannot think of any time that I have ever felt like I don't like the skin that I'm in. I may not like the size of it, which is my part of it is my fault, or I may not like the way it lays a certain way, or it may do something if I'm, if I'm rolling over and the side of a boob fall out or my ass hang out or something like that, which is again stuff that I can control. But I literally always think of those things first. Like when people start like racist, I'm like, what can we get down to the fundamental? What is your issue? Is it that you want to be what I am? You want to have what I have? Like, what is that? So that's what I always feel like. And this Wicked for me, the green skin part. Okay, yeah, all right. No, there's no one in the world with green skin. I think besides some animal, insects or something. Okay, but really, we can just make this a race. Like, I mean, come on. Like, but I don't know. That's me. Okay. That's all I got right now.
Okay. So this movie is a commentary on how white women literally float through life unaware. And then when they are made aware of the plight of others, all of that shit is their fault. See?
Listen.
And how they always center themselves in the narrative. So, the story is about Elphaba's pain, right? But somehow it's about how, Galinda,
yes,
isn't getting what she needs and wants out of life. So, yeah.
Let's talk about jealousy.
Okay.
The green is mean because the green attracted what you, Galinda, were after. So once again, is it about the way she looks, or is it about the way you want to look? Maybe if you were green, you can get the guy. I'm just saying. That's all I got.
Next, that silent dance at Ozdust. They must have released some Ozdust into the theater, because I was like, oh, woo.
But wait, can we just talk about that one? So listen, I'm always for these people that can cry on cue, and there are some people that when they cry, I think it is sexy as shit. Like if you can give me the one teardrop that rolled down your face, and for me, one of my favorites is Demi Moore, because in Ghost, when I tell you that one tear fell down that eye,
for sure.
So Elphaba had this moment where there was one tear that was, the tears were welling up in her eyes, but then that one tear started to fall.
Baby, it was a whole gallon welled up in her eye, and one tear fell. And I was like, yes, God. She was acting her fucking face off. And the fucked up part about that was that, first of all, the dress that Elphaba's clothes, was she in all black? Was she in all black? Yes. But that bitch stayed clean. And she was probably the only person that could have taken that hat and turned it out. And, it was also shows how like fake and phony people were, because everybody was like, ugh. Until Galinda liked her. And then everybody was like, I mean, she cool or whatever.
That part. So
knowing that the whole reason they, that she was even invited to the club was because, you know, Elphaba, trying to be like a genuine friend, got her into the class with Madame Morrible, which we're gonna get to Michelle Yeoh in a moment.
Right. If the dresses that she wore, well, first of all, the dresses were beautiful.
Very.
But if you got into the dresses that she wore and could see all the construction of it, and if it was in a different color.
Now, don't get me wrong, Ariana Grande looked great.
Oh, listen,
but you know, it was pink and it was whatever. But I feel like
I had a couple of requests for that pink sheer number with the big spirals on it when she was doing a little. Like
yes.
I had a couple of but you know, I had a couple of requests for that one, and I was like, oh my god.
And I saw some TikToks with the costume designer, and he was talking about, you know, his inspiration and stuff. And, you know, she's one of the girls, you know, and that's why I say the level of faggotry in this whole production.
Listen, I'm sorry, I'm just taking a part. Listen, Dylan, do what you got to do, baby. Do your job, baby.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yes, so you were saying one of the designers, he's one of the kids, and so
yeah. So, what's your next point?
So my next point is I kind of want to go into Michelle Yeoh because I want to go into that.
Let's get into it because I feel like I have a couple of points.
There is
with Michelle Yeoh as a person and with Madame Morrible as a character.
All right. So I felt like Michelle Yeoh, I felt like she's a phenomenal actor. Let's start with that.
Mm-hmm.
This role was not a stretch for her acting capabilities. However, I'm sure it was a political move and it was a power move, and you know, this is what it is. But it really could have been played by anybody. To me, the role. But what Michelle Yeoh what she brought to this character, because there's some deception that happens, and you don't even realize that it happens until
I didn't think about it until later when someone pointed it out to me.
But that's the thing. So that scene where it was happening, where her and Oz were together, you saw them kind of circling around each other. Did you see Michelle Yeoh's face? She turned to the side and was like, I said,
yes.
So there was some deception. Because again, I'm not trying to tell all the movie, but there was some deception. And some of y'all probably don't know the movie, but there was some deception. And I will say this. There was a line in the movie where they said, if you want to bring the people together, give them
something to hate.
Someone or something to hate. Yes.
Right.
And Elphaba became that person. But the part that I'm trying to bring out is the fact that this was orchestrated, and Michelle Yeoh's character, as well as Oz, were pulling the strings on this. They were absolutely pulling the strings on all of this. And that's the part, the deception part, where you can see Elphaba's hurt, and it was phenomenal the way Cynthia did it. And it was very, for lack of better wording, wicked the way Michelle Yeoh did her part with the deception part. So that's the part that I felt like it could have been any actor could have taken that role, and it could have and somehow displayed the duplicity and the wickedness. But Michelle Yeoh actually added a flair that was just, it was just a very light kiss. Like, it was just so subtle, but it was enough. So, yeah. And I know that as a person, Elphaba, like I said, you saw the hurt in her, but that right there in real life, to have that type of hurt from an adult, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So, that's my point. That's one point I should say. It's not even a point.
So, I love Michelle Yeoh. God knows I do. But she should never try to sing again. That is not her ministry. That is not her ministry.
I think I got some cobwebs over here in the studio that I'm gonna have to clean out because I don't think I know.
I mean, so, and you know what part of that issue is that the way everything was filmed, they were actually singing live. So this wasn't this was not backing tracks and them lip syncing over backing tracks. They purposely made a choice to sing live. So all of those notes and stuff that you hear is them singing live. And so if you can't sing and we're doing it live, because that was out of all of the things in the movie, that was the only thing I was like, God damn, she sounds terrible.
Baby, listen, I'm nobody's singer.
Right.
And even if I had to be an extra, baby, I'm nobody's singer. I can't do shit. Listen, I will lip sync the shit out of something, but baby, I'm not.
Now, let's get into Madame Morrible, the character. First of all, costumes fierce.
Yeah, absolutely.
Her hair was herring. Her hair was a paid extra in the movie.
I don't know. I wasn't really. I'm not feeling her with that color blonde.
I liked it, but I can understand if you don't.
Maybe something softer, not so brash.
But the way, so even as Galinda and Elphaba get to Shiz University, which is a whole other. We'll come back to that in a moment.
Yeah.
They were in the middle of a drought. At some point, it's revealed that Madame Morrible can control the weather. So why the fuck was this land of Oz in a drought when you got a bitch that can control the weather? So the has been stunting. I mean, that everyone was sort of caught up in the thing or whatever, but that was a clue to the stunt right there when she made the clouds clear so that it wouldn't rain on Elphaba. But the whole water thing is not something that I think they're leaning into they didn't lean into it into the play, and I don't think they're going to do it in the movie. Now, in the book, Wicked, Elphaba was like legit afraid of water. Like, she didn't bathe with water, she bathed with oil like the Romans used to do. They would cover themselves in oil and then scrape the oil off. So that's how she bathed. And Elphaba in the book was not a beautiful green black child. She was born with claws and razor sharp teeth, and when she was born, she bit the finger off of a midwife. The Elphaba in the books was a character.
But can we just get into the fact that motherfucking Cynthia Erivo and whoever did the makeup for her, because
that makeup, I kept looking at it like I'm trying to see like where her skin and baby, who else was a paid extra in the movie? That motherfucking microbate bust down wig she had on, because that wig, it even had like 4C baby hair and shit. It looked real.
Whose hair?
Cynthia Erivo, Elphaba's.
Okay, so hold on.
That hair was a paid extra, in my opinion.
It was, but then what was irritating me was because it was given the Tyler Perry thing. It was this right across the front. That was wearing me out. Oh my God. It was like the lace. Like they needed a little bit of lace, and it was just that lace. And I was like,
that wasn't lace, that was like hair, but so she did, it wasn't like baby hair, but it was anyway. I thought that looked good.
It was wearing me out. However, I like that they did that with braids. I do like that. But the other part I was going to mention was whoever, I don't know. I'm sure there probably was some damn Bougie Girl. First of all, welcome, Bougie Girl. We are glad that you are here. Do know that this entire show, I'm not gonna say this entire show. Listen, this is a salmon pink and apple green show. We trying to represent and we trying to do it for you. And this salmon pink ensemble over here, this is what was brought back.
This is what you requested, Bougie Girl. Something. You said, when I went to San Francisco, you said, bring me something pink and sparkly.
I'm just saying.
Pink And she's sparkly. Get
I'm
into
just saying
it. Get into
we
the sparkle.
we appreciate you showing up and being here for this, but I just want you to know that so listen, I was here, and again, you may have missed it, but there's a lighting effect that goes on with these glasses as well, so I got that on the side. But again, anyway, but yes, the I like what they did with the hair, but like I said, her makeup to me, I'm sure there probably was a little bit of CGI, but whoever, like from the blending,
no, that was all her that was all makeup. They did her makeup every day.
When they put in her face, it was so natural. Her lip line, her eye, like everything looked amazing.
Yeah,
amazing. So listen, I'm kudos to the hair and makeup team. Because again, they made everybody look amazing. Even Ariana Grande looked, not that she could look hard, but she looked so soft. So soft.
Yes.
Like
and my thing, I've never had anything against Ariana Grande. She always just seemed like a little girl playing dress up to me.
Right.
And she did steal a little bit in this movie, but it sort of worked. And so,
baby, as I mentioned to you before, now she was a Disney kid. Baby, let me tell you about something about these Disney kids and the way they have carried on and the way they are talented, and Disney churns these talented kids out.
Say what you want. I could say that she looks like a kid playing dress up or whatever, but the bitch could sing her face off.
And she was dancing. She was dancing. She did a little
dancing, dancing.
So one of the things,
and her comedic timing too.
It's great because she's even on Saturday Night Live. You ever watch her when she's on Saturday Night Live?
Yes.
2 or 3 times. She's funny as hell. But listen, let me say this. Let me get the gay child in me. As a kid, I never understood what drew me to big production dances and the movement, and it was always something that I could tell when the people were dancing that they were happy as shit. Like they were doing what there was a passion for them, and they just made it absolutely joyful. And so there was a scene in the movie with some dancing as well. I'm sorry, some dancing in this particular scene that reminded me of these older movies like West Side Story and Carmen, and like
it was very old school choreography.
Yes, and the movements and the dancing, it made me remembered why I fell in love with dance and why I liked it so much.
Right.
It just made me just happy. Like that's the thing. And so from that standpoint, as far as a musical or like a Broadway show or like a movie, that aspect was tens across the board for me as well. That was amazing. So I'm
much so. The musical numbers, very much so.
Yeah.
Also, the way that Cynthia and Ariana's voices meshed together, sometimes it was like it sounded like one person singing, which is telling you that like their voices meshed so perfectly that you couldn't tell where one voice ended and another voice began. So it was just like a perfect pairing of the two of them, which also brings me to something a friend of ours, the formerly known as Wicked Onyx, pointed out, because I asked him had he gone to see it, and he said he hadn't. He's seen the play in with Special K in New York, but he hadn't seen the movie yet. He said they were talking that one of the people originally being considered for Elphaba was Lady Gaga. And I'm like, I'm sure she would have done fine, because Lady Gaga turned it out in A Star Is Born. I fucking loved her in A Star Is Born. But I just did. I mean, Cynthia, the idea, the story behind Wicked has an added depth by having a visibly Black person playing this green person, because it's just a spoken and unspoken layer to the, like you said, people want green, people want green stuff, but they don't like green people.
That part. I just,
and then when you don't, if you are green and you have some sort of a power that the ruling people want, but you don't want to play ball, then you're the villain.
Absolutely.
So think of all of the Black people who, had power, and I don't mean like magical powers, but activists or whatever. And then
we can
if
talk
they
about performers. Let's talk about Michael Jackson. Let's talk about Michael Jackson.
let's talk about Michael Jackson. Let's talk about Janet Jackson.
Listen,
the girls, everybody was like, "Oh, Janet Jackson, that's pity," but then she showed her titty, which was an accident, and then all of a sudden she's like, the fucking enemy. And Les Moonves, the head of CBS, made it a point.
Documented point.
He would make a point of not inviting her to the Grammys. And if they were like, "Oh, and this year we're going to have a performance by Janet Jackson," he would be like, "Absolutely not." When that wasn't even her fucking fault.
Documented point and documented intentionally sabotaging. But
right.
Again, I'm gonna keep quiet on that one because I ain't like that at all.
Right. And I mean, even people like Beyonce, there was this sketch one time on Saturday Night Live called "The Day Beyonce Turned Black." And it was like after the Lemonade album. Because, listen, Beyonce wasn't known before the Lemonade album. I don't think she was really known for doing like deep commentary. It was all very good. But I'm a diva. I mean, yeah. So it was about female empowerment, which, white women can get behind female empowerment, but they can't get behind Black female empowerment.
Oh, absolutely not. Because, because all lives matter, which in the grand scheme of things, no one ever said that it didn't, because yes, it does.
Right, but we're not talking about that.
We're not talking about that. We were talking about the specific part of the Black ones. They did matter.
And so, so when Alpha, I feel like that additional layer would have not gone over. It wouldn't have been there if Lady Gaga had done it. Obviously, she would have been able to sing the hell out of the songs. Would her voice would have meshed as well with Ariana Grande's? Maybe, maybe not. But the depth of having a Black woman sing these songs. Yes, I'm wearing houndstooth, and girl, if you try to bite me, it will be the last thing you ever do with that mouth.
Well, listen, before you go bite him, come see me.
Right.
I got something you can do with that mouth.
I mean, I know something you can do with your mouth, but but not biting.
I'm just saying.
But well, sure, I can bite you. I got you. Let's see what else.
So can we just talk about the animals, the instructors, and it was very much akin to the Holocaust, and
yes, and like what's about to happen with certain classes of migrants.
Absolutely.
And they want your labor. So they wanted the animals' labor, but they wanted them to literally be silent. Which is another thing that Black and brown people can do. Let's just talk about gay life. Remember before marriage equality became the law of the land, it was all organizations like HRC and all of these other mostly white-led LGBTQ plus organizations was all like, yeah, we're one big happy family. And they were happy to have, Black and brown queer people, particularly trans women and lesbians and other people fighting that fight. They wanted our labor. But then as soon as they got what they wanted us to be silent.
Yep.
So
Another point. Let's go on into we talked about a couple different things, and I thought that the relationship between Ariana and her good girlfriends both.
I don't know that white woman's name, but Bo and Yang and the white woman, yeah.
It was very
they were kiss asses is what they were.
pretty much, and everybody else, like they were the kiss asses. Everybody else was kiss asses. They were her kiss asses.
Right.
So I found them interesting.
I need those glasses that Bo and Yang had.
Can we talk about the glasses that Cynthia Erivo had? Like, let's start with those. Like, both of them were amazing.
Yes.
So I listen. The movie, I didn't even think it was 3 hours long because I didn't realize it was that long.
It did not feel that long. It was 2 hours and 40 minutes long, but it did not feel that way.
You said 2 hours and 20 minutes?
40.
Okay, 2 hours, yeah. So I didn't feel, it felt amazing to me, but what I will say is, I, in particular...
Hold on one second. Justin, you didn't interrupt no convo. I mean, this is a free-flowing conversation. Keep on talking about you wanting to get bit.
Yeah.
But anyway, keep going.
But yeah, it was the movie was great. It gave a good backstory. It talked about Elphaba's parents and how the dad just really didn't care for her. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it.
So, and there's lots of stuff that was sort of whitewashed and glossed over because the book Wicked is very adult. So in the book Wicked, so have you ever seen the meme where the guy's like, she was a princess, and what was her sister? She was a princess. What does that make her? So what it is that the Throp, Elphaba Throp is really like a title. And so like Elphaba and Nessa Rose's mother was the daughter of the previous eminent Throp. And so she married a man and he became the eminent Throp.
Okay.
Which makes them like the governor of Munchkin Land.
Okay.
So that's what that makes them. But in the book, Elphaba's father hated Elphaba because Elphaba had a relationship with the same man that her father liked.
Come again?
No. It was the mother. So the mother was having an affair
because they glaze over that in the movie.
No. But so in the movie, if you're paying attention, it's made pretty clear that Elphaba's father is the wizard, and it's clear in the books that becomes revealed. But no, even before that, Mama was a Rolling Stone. She could not keep her legs closed to married men or single men. And one of the reasons that they were estranged was because Elphaba's mother was also in a relationship with a dude that her husband also was banging.
Caller, are you there? I'm.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Caller, are you there? Because I just want to make sure I understand this because and it was, they don't make any bones. It's not like it was no problem with him being in love with this boy. It was a problem that he was supposed to marry this girl. So it wasn't about him being gay or having a quote unquote homosexual relationship. That wasn't even a term that was used. It was like, you can't be with this person because you're always already supposed to be with this and I think already married to this person. That's in the Cortland, that's in the book. Like there's a lot of shit in the book. Like he was promised off, like it was like a
I think so. I'm remember this was like a long time ago that I read.
I never read the books. We were talking about
in the books. Nessa Rose had legs and could walk. She had no arms.
Oh.
In the book, Nessa Rose had no arms, and the shoes were enchanted, which allowed her to do shit. Like because she literally had no arms. So Elphaba spent a lot of her childhood being Nessa Rose's arms. So she wasn't just in a wheelchair. She had no arms, literally, and so she became a sorceress or a witch, the Wicked Witch of the East, perfecting her magic and the enchanted slippers and everything because she had no arms in the book. And you know that the Scarecrow is Fiyero. Fiyero gets turned into a scarecrow. And
So
Bach,
again, I never knew that. I didn't read the books.
that's going to be in part 2 because that's definitely in the
I'll
play too.
Yeah.
But Fiyero is, you know, that little lion cub was a cowardly lion.
The little who?
The little lion cub that they rescued. That little lion cub becomes the cowardly lion.
Yes.
Fiyero gets turned into the scarecrow, and Bach. You remember Bach? The munchkin that was that Glinda tried to push off on Nessa Rose, even though he didn't like her.
Yeah.
He gets turned into the Tin Man. So here's what happened. At some point, he says to Nessa Rose, he was like, "You are nice. You really are. But I really love Glinda." And in a fit of rage, Nessa Rose shrinks his heart. And Elphaba turns him into the Tin Man to save him.
So once again, it's the perception,
right? That all of these things are crazy. And so for me, that was what I loved about the book and the books, is that it gave this really awesome backstory to all of these characters. And in the books, and in the movie, well, I think so. Elphaba doesn't die.
Well,
she runs off with Fiyero. So even in the second part of the movie, what you're going to find out is that because leading up to the events of The Wizard of Oz, Glinda finds out that Fiyero and Elphaba are having an affair. So remember how Glinda is like, if you kill this bitch, you could have everything you want.
So, but wait a minute. The other part of this was, I don't know where I heard this or got this from, but there was a mention. I don't know why I'm thinking about this. There was a mention of her actually having a child somewhere.
Yes, she has a child with Fiyero.
Yeah.
Now, in the book,
these are pieces that I just don't,
right, now, in the book, read. I think that she wasn't in the book. Fiyero dies. Mm-hmm. And she was not aware that she was pregnant when Fiyero dies.
Okay. Well, and maybe this is something I might need to put.
And in the book, not only Fiyero is not this carefree prince. Fiyero is a whole married man.
Well,
it's a lot going on in the books. Speaking of the homosexuality and stuff, I loved the casual representation of relationships, because while all of the primary relationships were strictly heterosexual, Fiyero made it clear that he would have stuck his dick in just about anything.
So let's go back. This is telling her origin story, Elphaba.
Yeah.
But the original story was Frank Oz, I believe it was. But is this based off of Frank Oz? This is
based off of Oz, but none of the stuff that we are talking about was actually in any of the books.
Right.
This is a history of a character that was
like a prequel,
not really filled in Frank L. Baum's books.
Who did I say? I said Frank Oz. Yeah.
You said Frank Oz, but I know what you meant. We know what you meant.
So
I love that representation. I also love the representation of people in wheelchairs. I love the fact that, well, Glenda definitely saw her because she said, "Oh, aren't you tragically beautiful?" Meaning you're beautiful, but it's a waste because you're in that chair. But you are in that chair, Nessa Rose. You are.
And what did Elphaba say? Yes, she said you're tragically beautiful. She said yes, I'm. She said I'm beautifully. She spun it. She said that she was tragically beautiful, and then she said she's beautifully tragic. I think that's what she said.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, okay. I was like, all right, come on, Elf. So for me, that shows that Elphaba was like, baby, listen, I got this armor that I got on, that I've gone through this all my life, baby. I got all the answers to all the questions you're gonna ask about me, about any of this stuff being green, baby. That's what I got. So I was here for it. And when we start thinking about doing comparisons between the LGBTQIA community, like, baby, a lot of us, baby, there's an armor that we have because we've been through this life.
Yes.
Carrying ourselves and doing stuff. Like this was a great movie. It was an awesome movie.
It was lots of layers to it, which I appreciate because I like that. I like that kind of stuff because, this could have been a very superficial bubblegum cotton candy kind of movie that really, it didn't. I don't think that everyone was expecting it to have all of the layers that it did.
And it has many, many layers. In fact, so the brother and I were talking about it. He just chimed in. Hey, Treasure Lane. We were talking about it, how it has so many different layers. And I know he was going to be talking about it and doing some stuff on his show as well. But again, I absolutely loved everything about this. The hype was kind of silent, but then it was like aggressive almost, but then not. But I'm glad I did go and see it. For me, the last 30 minutes is what got me.
Oh, for sure.
And I don't care about what nobody says. Listen, I was a kid that grew up with superheroes, and
that was that last. It was a very superhero, very superhero-esque thing when she was flying through the canyon and the cape was all behind her, and then she did the dive down and then the shoot across. I was like, baby, this was Superman.
Baby, everything. So if you've ever seen the Man of Steel. And when he goes up in the air, he's standing, and the cape is flying. Baby, yes. I was losing it. I was like, like I was losing it. Like, it was amazing for me. And that brought me back to my childhood. And I in like, that goddamn cape was everything. Bougie.
Yes, and Bougie Girl was right. Because I remember sitting in the movie. I was like, girl, this cape was not that big. When Glenda put that cape around her, I was like, that cape was not that big. It was like,
flip. It was all out here. I was like, come on, Cape.
Right.
It was everything. Treasure, of course.
A couple more points. So we got the superhero moment. So two songs, commentary I have on two songs. The first is that the song The Wizard and I. That was the one where she was like walking through the glen. And remember, like the stained glass was on her face. And then some point, the stained glass caught the light in such a way that it took away the green color, and all you saw was the brown skin. And again, this hits on another level, because if Lady Gaga had played it, probably could have turned it out, and then you'd have just revealed the white woman underneath. But by that being a black face underneath, I don't know that we have all at some point dreamed about being blonde hair, blue eyes, but lots of people have. Lots of people have wished or had some sort of trauma in their life and been like, if I wasn't black, would I have to go through this? And The Wizard and I is about meeting the wizard. And this was when she first gets to Shiz, meeting the wizard, and her dream would be to get degreenified. And how many of us, and I'm just going to say us, even though it might not be me and you personally, how many of us have ever had that dream of we're too brown or too yellow, or if you're Asian, my eyes aren't the right shape. If I could just snap my fingers and look more like Susie and Bobby, or you know what I mean? So it was just a great commentary on colorism. And then also the song Popular. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was laughing at Boosie myself. Okay, dream of being blind. Me, never. Okay.
No, girl, because you are fabulous just the way you fucking are, bitch.
Okay. She also had that little blonde, little finger wave cut going on. Look good on her. Come on, Boosie.
I mean, but a little blonde finger wave, but being a blonde is different.
Yeah.
Y'all know what I mean.
Well, yeah.
And then, so my other commentary on songs is the song Popular is about integration and assimilation, because it's not about being popular for who you are. So it's about being popular because you're fitting into the mold of what everyone else wants. Because remember, it wasn't about, girl, you are green and green people are cool as shit, or we like you because, you know, you can make shit happen, or you have a cool accent or whatever. It was like, no, you can be popular because you have changed things about yourself. You can change the way you dress. You can change how you talk. You can change how you act. And again, how many Black and brown people have had that experience of like, especially, I think it's different for Black people, but let's talk about the children of immigrants who, in order to fit in, feel, or, you know, have to, you know, you don't, and some of it comes from their parents. Like, I know people whose parents immigrated from Vietnam or China or whatever, and they insist that only English is spoken at home so that their kids don't have to go through that same struggle that they used to. So it's about being popular by assimilating and fitting in. Like, you're not liked because you're Vietnamese. You're like, they like you despite you being from Vietnam.
Which is,
or they like you despite you being being green.
Which is in and of itself a problem.
See?
I'm just saying.
Thinking.
Right. I don't give a damn about nothing else. I walked out of the movie theater, and I think I was talking to Laura, and then I was talking to Chef, and I was talking about, you know, what's going on. I'm singing. I even took on the phone. I was talking to Kevin. I was singing. I'm like, listen, and the whole flight, when she took flight, all of it, I was so, like, my shoulders were up, like,
because that bitch was just about to die for a minute, for real.
It was amazing. I enjoyed it.
And then I love the connection of the broom being her inner child, which allowed her to, when she embraced and touched her inner child, she could fly free. Because until then, until she accepted and touched and hugged on and held close her inner child,
and liked and accepted and loved her inner child. Yes. All of that.
Right. Like the cape, the green, the scroll in the broom, the damn cape, and I'm through. But one more thing. Well, the next thing, bitch, why the fuck did Glinda send Dorothy traipsing all over this fucking city when there was a whole fucking express train to the Emerald City?
You said that in the, but wait, let's talk about that motherfucking train. First of all, it was mythical. It was beautiful.
And that was a practical effect. They literally built a track that was like almost a football field's length for filming. So that was like an actual set piece. That wasn't all. That was not a what do you call it? That was not CG. I mean, there was some CGI obviously around it, but that train was an actual thing.
It was a beautiful train. It was an absolute beautiful train. I love the way it looked. It looked futuristic, but then also looked retro at the same time. And so it was. I listen. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
That's all I got. It was beautiful. But like I said, Jeff Goldblum never
always sexy to me.
He never disappoints.
Never disappoints.
And even in this role, he didn't disappoint. And even though he, for all intents and purposes, he's a bad guy, but he just still never disappointed. Like, I don't know. Like, I felt like it was just, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed him.
I loved everything about the movie. It was just, again, I love things that are multiply layered and have depth like that. But I didn't feel like any of it was banging you over the head with it. Like, okay, Fierro was flirting with both men and women, but they didn't make a thing about it. It was like, of course, Fierro would probably fuck anything that wasn't nailed down. And, of course, they would...
Bougie.
And like, of course, when they're at Ozdust, someone would ask the girl in the wheelchair to dance, and like dance for real. Although Nessa Rose, I don't fuck with her too tough, because the way that Elphaba took care of her whole life, and she just let them laugh at her sister like that.
Yep, because she was trying to fit in and she wanted to be with that boy. And she listen. She
was like, I love Bach, and Elphaba was like, you just met him.
Yeah, I ain't really all that cool with that. I was like, okay, listen, But then again, her parents reinforced that. And I don't know how many times I've had conversations with friends and family members that have had relationships with parents or other people where they discount them or put them down to dote on somebody else. And it's so it happens all the fucking time. And I just don't get it. I don't fucking get it. And it's a horrible feeling, especially if you're that person that you've been skipped over or doted on. Like, so if you were the Elphaba of that relationship, it's a horrible feeling. It's a horrible feeling.
I honestly think if my sister saw that movie, she would empathize with Elphaba too, because she feels that growing up, my parents favored me over her.
So, and it's funny that you say that, because my older sister then said to me one time, well, mom did more for you than she did for me. The fuck you mean? And so I would always argue with her and be like, what do you mean she did? You had the same opportunities that I did. We're two different people, number one. But on top of that, baby, whatever it is that you needed, you either got or you didn't. Whatever I needed, I either got or I didn't. Like, it's not even like, that was irritating to me when she would say that, or she said it. And I never forgot it, but then I have to realize, I have to sit back, and I'm doing this right now. And I've said this 18,000 times, your perception is your reality. And honestly speaking, it is just now hitting me that was her perception. And so because
that was her perception, and y'all were also 12 years apart, right?
11 years apart. Yes.
Right. So who your mother was for those first 11 years
was completely different than when she was.
And by the time you became old enough, she was an entirely different person by the time you came along. So, I mean, in any family, even if they love their children equally, they're going to be like, you see it with people that have two kids that have any difference. The first one, they're all like, oh, we can't let Johnny, only gets the best, food. I'm going to grind this applesauce by hand. By the time that third child comes along, bitch.
Because baby
is getting this little cup of applesauce.
Because baby, the difference between myself and my sister, Baby Kim got the paper diaper. I mean the cloth diapers and the diaper service and washing dresses and all that type of stuff. Baby, I was in some Pampers. I didn't even get breastfed. I was a Similac kid like that. Like it was a completely. And my mother was very clear. She was like, I wasn't doing that shit again. She's like, no. She was like Pampers, Similac. She was like microwave. Like this is what all of it.
Right, and so. Times change, people change, and that is not to say, like you said, that is still her reality.
Right.
And so with my sister, all I can do is accept that because there's nothing I can do. Both my parents are dead, so we can't even have the conversation with them to confirm that that's how they feel or whatever. All you can do is accept that and be there for them when they want to talk about it.
Yeah, that's it. And the funny thing is, the more I think about it, because it wasn't my sister that said it to me. I remember I brought it up to her, but it was my mom who told me after she had passed. And I think I brought it up, and I'm saying brought it up in my sister because in my head I was talking to her. I was like having this whole conversation. But I just I don't know. I still didn't like that. I didn't like it.
Right.
Same upbringing, and you would have thought he was the damn stepchild, and Lord have mercy. Well, I mean,
and I think even with the best of intentions,
no one's perfect. Our parents are here.
They're not perfect. And also, I think children, parents treat children differently based on their gender. Excuse me. I have heard, and there is some anecdotal evidence that mothers tend to be softer with their sons than they are with their daughters, or can be. And for every case of that you see, you can see the exact opposite. So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there can be differences in how children are raised. And then for some, the mothers are harder on their sons because of whatever went on in their life than they are on their daughters, because they see their daughter more as a confidant.
I don't know. I feel like I was loved and never any of that stuff, that type of stuff. Like I wasn't loved, I wasn't cared for. But I do feel like at times I was just like, my mother would say stuff to me and I'd be like, why would you think I would do that? Like I just don't understand like where that came from. But then I also have to think about the fact that 11 years older than me was my sister, and she probably tried to do some shit that I just just never crossed my mind. But then again, I think I told you a story about the karate class that I never went back to again.
Oh yeah, because the dude gave you a chest punch and your mother had to leave before she beat the shit out of somebody in that class.
Baby, the way he hachi-tachi'd me and slammed me on that ground. My mother was like, and she was just using me as the example. My mother was like, okay. She was like, and I know she was sitting there like gritting her teeth, probably like, Baby, I never went back. But she was hot about that. She was hot.
And you were fine with it.
I was like, I'm ready to go back. I want to go. Yay! Throw me around. I was ready. But anyway,
all right. So, any more to say about Wicked? I will definitely tell you, go see it. Part 2, because this was just part 1.
Oh yeah. So
part 2 comes out on November 25th, 2025. So exactly a year after part 1 premiered.
So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say Wicked leads the biggest Thanksgiving on record. This is about a Hollywood Reporter that the overall industry gross was up 23% from the prior week to reach 46 million, with attendance up 1.53% to reach 312,143. And last year, Thanksgiving week on Broadway brought in 34.5 million with an attendance of 228,711. And this is just the Wicked on Broadway. So
Right.
Wicked was the top grossing show in the industry last week, bringing in close to 3 million amid the buzz for the movie and the lucrative holiday week. The musical is typically one of the top grossing shows each week, but during Thanksgiving week, it brought in close to $400,000 more than the week prior to reach 2.93 million. The Lion King also saw totals near 3 million with 2.88 million, and Hamilton rounded up the top three with 2.6 million. But Wicked set an all-time box office record for a second week release with this adaptation. It scored an incredible 81.1 million during its second week, setting a record for the highest grossing second week ever for a movie that didn't hit the number one spot. Now, despite Disney's Moana 2 stealing the spotlight with its massive debut, Wicked flew past some of the biggest second week hauls in history, including The Incredibles 2 at 80.3 million and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse at 55.5 million. Directed by director John Chu, Wicked has been a juggernaut since its release, now sitting at a domestic total of 263.1 million and a global haul of 359.2 million. The film is already the highest grossing Broadway adaptation ever at the domestic box office. And it surpassed the lifetime gross of 1978's Grease, which made 188.62 million. On worldwide charts, it trails only Mamma Mia, which was at 611 million, and Les Mis at 442 million, and Grease 396 million, and it will likely beat all of them. So the 81.1 million second week haul puts Wicked in elite company, as now it leads the all-time list of second weekends that couldn't quite reach the top spot. Not that it's something to be ashamed of, given the names on the list. So again, I mentioned that they missed they're ranked number one for Wicked. The second weekend gross was 81.1 million, and it missed number one because of Moana 2 opening. Moana 2's opening weekend. The Incredibles, their second grossing weekend was 80.3 million, and it lost to Jurassic Park's Fallen Kingdom. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was 55.5 million, lost to Transformers Rise of the Beast opening, and Shrek the Third at 53 million lost to Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End opening. So, I mean, just to give you some comparison of the other types of movies that they're in and what happens in the second week and why they didn't reach the number one spot. So, but that's all I got for Wicked itself.
Excellent.
So, but I got a couple things I want to also say. Wait a minute. Hold up. What's going on? Grace, is your ass in this show, Grace?
I didn't see her.
Is Grace not in the show? Listen, I'm getting ready to. Grace, your ass. Well, okay. Well, listen, I'm gonna leave it alone. Here's what.
Anyway, happy birthday, girl.
Here's what I'm getting ready to say. Famous birthdays today, and in the last week, Woody Allen turned 89. Kathleen Lee Crosby. I don't think anybody remembers that she was the first Wonder Woman. On time.
I do, of course.
Kathleen Lee Crosby is 80. Bette Midler turned 79. Ozzy Osbourne turned 76. Actor Jeff Bridges turned 75. Singer Cassandra Wilson turned 69. Charlene Tilton is 66. Daryl Hannah turned 64. Model and actress Carol Alt turned 64. And Julianne Moore turned 64, along with Marissa Tomei, who turned 60. And actor-comedian Fred Armisen turns 58. Brendan Fraser turns 56, along with Montel Jordan and Lucy Liu, who all turned 56. Jay-Z turns 55 today. Actor Golden Brooks is 54. Tretch of Naughty by Nature is 54, along with Sarah Silverman. Tyra Banks turned 51. Nelly Furtado turns 46. Tiffany Haddish turns 45. Anna Chlumsky turns 43. The little girl from My Girl with Macaulay Culkin.
Mm-hmm.
She's the same age as Britney Spears, who had a birthday as well. Comedian Yvonne Orji is 41. Actress Amanda Seyfried, God, I can't even pronounce her name. Amanda Seyfried turns 39. Singer-actor Janelle Monáe turns 39. Zoe Kravitz turns 36. And old batshit crazy 2024 Grace turns 25 for like the 25th time. Happy birthday, Grace. Happy.
Yes, yes, she just showed up.
Oh, she just showed up. That because I done called her out, And then she texts me talking about something. I'm on Facebook. I'm here. Okay. Yeah, get your ass. Yes, get your ass in here. Happy birthday, batshit crazy.
Happy birthday, girl.
I mean, listen, we ain't gonna talk about that. I mean, she got a little man and everything, so she only come around when
she don't need us no more. Okay, got it.
She just hanging. But it's all right. But I'm gonna go ahead and say happy birthday to you, girl. Happy birthday, girl. Yeah. Batshit crazy. Yep, she is. But anyway, what's up? What else?
Hold on, I'm getting it set up.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna just some other people that had birthdays: Wink Martindale, Gianni Versace, Monica Seles, Lou Rawls, Lee Trevino, Richard Pryor, and also Treat Williams had birthdays as well.
Excellent. All right, are we ready,
baby?
There's no way I can date a 5. I'm just saying.
So what can you date?
Yeah. Listen, I know the comments gonna kill me. But I gotta have an 8 or above. Okay. I'm a high value.
So what do you think you are, Pastor?
Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. And I had my looks assessed. I went to a consultant, well known before he passed. I went to him and I said, just lay it and tell me, sir, what is it? And he told me, he said, I'm gonna be honest, you probably one of the better looking men that I've seen.
Okay.
And that's in all honesty. I'm probably about, I would give myself a low 12.
Hold on.
There's no way I can date.
Pause this video at the right point.
Can you?
When they zoom in on them?
Right here.
Let me see if I can count the strands of this wig. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6,
is this
7, 8,
this
9,
is
10, 11,
12. Because girl, what is going on with this line here? This looks like this because you see this is bald here, right? So this is just like one track strung across his head to cover the baldness.
I don't know if this is.
He said he can't date anything. He can't date what he looked like dating a 5. I'm like, listen. All I will say, everyone is
Major
beautiful.
Minor. What's going on, baby?
Everyone is beautiful in the eyes of the Lord.
Yes, they are.
But I'm not the Lord.
I am not.
And that bang had his 125th birthday 10 years ago last Saturday. Yes, God. Because baby, this bang is killing me. That's a bang.
Bang. What the what?
The bang. All right, so let's remember when I talked about
that Jessica Fletcher was actually a serial killer.
She killed them.
And I'm waiting for that reboot because there's no way that she encountered that many dead people. Like it's like she went on a cruise, somebody died. She went to see a play, somebody died. She went on vacation, somebody dies. She's a killer.
So this was where that theory came from. And you know what I thought about? I was like, God damn, that is true. Because everywhere that bitch went, in that little tiny ass town of Cabot Cove, someone ended up dead.
But baby, Miss Jessica Fletcher figured it out every motherfucker.
Or did she just find someone to pin it on? And then after she died, all of the evidence came out. And all these people that's been in jail for decades is like, I told y'all I was innocent.
They on the presidential pardon list. Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, Joe Biden pardoned his son, and I don't give a fuck. And here's why I don't give a fuck. It's not for the reason that other people think. I think that Joe is I think this is not a tit for tat. I will say that the incoming president is a whole convicted felon, a whole found civilly liable sexual predator, a whole rapist, a whole serial philanderer, and lots of legal experts said that the crimes that Hunter Biden were found guilty of would have never been prosecuted at this level for anyone else. And Joe Biden is also like, girl, I honestly, if Kamala had won, Hunter was about to have to eat it. But
I don't know.
Since Kamala lost, he was like, what are you gonna do? I mean, what are you gonna do? We lost. So there's no one that can be blamed for me doing this. Because I honestly think if Kamala had won, they would have been like, just because it was the Biden-Harris administration, she would have got some of the blowback from it. But since she lost, like, what is there to lose now?
I mean, but I also think had she won, she would have also still returned the favor.
She might have, but I honestly, I don't know. But I either way, whatever happened, baby, the way that he was giving out pardons for people who were convicted of like tax evasion, spying, all kinds of other shit, and now those same people are going to be in his incoming administration. I don't give a shit about a man who forgot to file his taxes and filled out a gun registration form wrong.
I don't really have too much to say about this because why this was news, I have no idea. But okay. That's right.
I will say there are other people on death row, starting with Leonard Peltier, the Native American rights activist that people have been trying to get released for decades. If we giving out pardons because it don't matter now, pardon him.
There's a whole lot of people. But again, Lil Wayne well, never mind. Let me stop.
All right, next story.
Baby.
The way those shoes went flying.
Toot toot. Both of them.
Individually, we are weak, like a single twig. But as a bundle, we form a mighty faggot. Individually, we are weak, like a single twig. But as a bundle, we form a mighty faggot.
So the reason that I posted this is because of the history that is too small for you to see. And this person, Killer Cam, the dog training man, says, fun fact, the F word in the video originally only meant a bunch of sticks, and a faggot was a bunch of sticks.
That's correct.
During the time of witch trials, other groups of people were also persecuted, particularly gay people, but they were not deemed important enough to be burned at the stake or have their own fire, so they would often be tossed onto the fire of a witch that was already being burned, much like a bunch of sticks onto a bonfire. This is where the F word became a slur referring to gay people, basically telling someone they were a bundle of sticks that needed to be tossed on the fire and burned, and that they were not important enough in society to even merit their own funeral pyre. So,
this is
lazy people do not want the blessing. They want a handout. If you sleep in your bed, you have to make it. You can't just leave it because I'm gonna sleep in it again anyway tonight. Lazy people don't want the blessing because they don't like the maintenance. See, there weren't no cubicles in the garden. If there was grass there, then you were responsible for tilling it. They went, this ain't my department, this ain't my job, I don't get paid for this. I'm not the supervisor, I'm not the one. You saw grass?
And you know why I posted this video.
Listen, that's why
the hairline.
The what? The what? The what?
That old janky ass hairline. But baby, these pants and this ass. I mean, listen, people are allowed to have the bodies that God gave them, and no one is suggesting that he should dress quote unquote modestly to cover whatever assets he's got. But I'm like, God damn.
I mean,
I didn't hear a single fucking word that he said.
So this would have been you in the audience.
Exactly.
Be like, sir, my eyes are up here.
Exactly.
Okay.
I feel like he wearing this outfit for the people in the choir loft. That's all I'm saying.
To the index tonight, and U.S. health officials have confirmed a human case of the plague in Pueblo County, Colorado. They're still looking for the source of the infection. Humans can be sickened through flea bites from an infected rodent or by handling an infected animal. The CDC says the plague is rare in the U.S., averaging about 7 cases a year.
I posted this, right? Because we all remember where we were in maybe the fall of 2019. And, people were starting to come down with this like respiratory virus, and they were like, well, it's not a cold or whatever. But at first it was like one isolated case. And first of all, it was overseas. It was all overseas. It was like, strange new cases of a flu coming from China. And then all of a sudden it was like more and more cases of this flu in China. That was all in 2019. And then starting in 2020, it started like around February. It was February.
Yes.
Or no, it was right after MAL actually. In January 2020.
Yeah.
We had like the first cases of COVID in the United States, which was like one case. And by March 10th, I lost my job because we had enough cases that United Airlines literally shut down their whole construction division and laid off or fired 200 plus people. So
I didn't come home until March 18th, I think it was. It was like 16th, 17th, or 18th, one of the 3 days. That's when I came home. And I'd been home for quite some time at that point.
Yeah. And with this incoming administration, girl, so this is why when I hear people saying, oh, I can't listen to the news, girl, we gotta listen to the news because shit is dangerous. And we already know from past experience that we're not going to be able to trust anything that this administration tells us about what's going on in the world.
Because, it's just a cold. You can kill it with just,
bleach. And then like Lola says, don't forget about the bird flu and all kinds of other stuff. So we need to be paying attention so that we can hear from scientists what we're supposed to be doing. Girl, the plague. Y'all know that the plague wiped out 2/3 of the European population in the Middle Ages. There is evidence, I think it's actually proven, that there is a small group of Europeans who are immune to HIV because of immunities passed down genetically that helped their ancestors survive the plague.
Yes.
So, and they're actually using those people to develop antibodies and treatments for HIV now. But my point is, girl, we cannot afford to not pay attention to the news and not be informed about what the fuck is going on, in the world. So
listen, we're going to try to stay as vigilant as we can.
Right.
And the thing is, if we went on lockdown because of COVID, we will definitely go on lockdown. For the plague, it will be what?
Why I love living in the DR? There's several reasons. One is obviously financial. My dollar goes a long way here compared to the United States. Another reason is the weather. Oh my God. I came from the Midwest in the United States, and the snow and gloves and boots and all that, there's no more of that.
Oh, I can't play that because girl, they'd be done blocked this whole video for playing Michael Jackson's lyrics. But so I posted this, right? Is because you always see Americans talk about, oh, it's cheaper to live in the DR, or I can get a 4,000 square foot apartment in Thailand for $500 a month. And I'm like, don't you understand that Americans coming to these countries is what's ruining these countries? Because you're driving the price up.
Yes, indeedy.
Because it's cheaper for you to live, but all of those vegetables and that the plantain shit that you see is now becoming more expensive for the locals
because it's less available for them.
Because it's less available, and so let's say a plantain cost 10 cents. For you to say, bitch, I'll pay $1 for this plantain. That's still nothing to you, but to a person whose budget is based around a plantain being 10 cents, to now have to pay $1 for a plantain,
it's a lot.
Which is a staple of the diet.
It's a lot.
So when people say, oh yeah, move to this other country, don't do that, girl. I mean, it's going to work out for you, but it's not going to work out for in the DR. It's not going to work out for any of those the black people. People. Because if you are in the Dominican Republic, your ancestors are from Africa. Africa.
Let it go. Let it go. Just let it go.
I can't let it go.
Let it go. Let it go.
Right. And so that's just my point is that, I mean, I get you. Warm weather, all that other shit. But, if too many people move there, you're going to drive up the cost of living because people know everybody. So, again, the plantain things, people know if they were used to selling a plantain for 10 cents, they know they can literally make 10 times as much selling them to your ass. And you're still not going to see that as a big deal. But the people who used to buy the plantains won't be able to buy them anymore. Because do you honestly think that if, Jose Schmo, Joe Schmo, Jose Schmo,
right?
If he can sell you the plantain for $1, he's still also going to sell it to you for only 10 cents?
Hell no. He's going to be like, my plantains are $1.
Right. Or maybe grandma used to be able to get the best plantains to make them a fungo,
but now she's gonna get what's left over.
She's gonna get what's left over because all of the best plantains are going for $1. You get the bruised, fucked up ones.
Yep.
So anyway, all right, that's all I got. I mean, I just thought that's to me, that kind of stuff is important because it's we live in a connected world.
We do. We absolutely
do. It's the same thing. Remember how in the last thing I'll say on this is that remember how in the 80s and 90s there was this concern about the Japanese and the Chinese buying up American real estate?
I don't know if I really remember that.
Well, they did, and it was because all of these newly rich Chinese people were able to buy this stuff because it was cheaper.
This was tied to some of the tech companies, if I remember correctly.
And lots of other things. Yeah. And people complained in places like New York City and LA that these Chinese people, because they could just buy up a place, again. You used to, you go to try to buy a house, the house is $300,000. Someone from overseas would be like, I will give you $500,000 cash for this house right now. You think they still going to try to sell it? They're still going to sell it to your ass for $300,000? So,
I mean, I'm gonna go with this 5. That's
Right. I'm gonna go with this money. So
that's what I'm gonna do.
So anyway, this was a fun show. I will tell
It
you,
was.
baby. So Wicked, go to see Wicked to support Black women, to support the arts, because this was really like, this was not, some throwaway, whatever. Support all of the Black and brown and queer people who made this movie a success. And so these are the kinds of ways that you can be political with your dollar. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can't buy Tesla, but you can support a movie. You can show that a movie with 2 female leads, with lots of visibly with people who are differently abled, people who are queer, that those people can be in a movie and be seen just like everyone else.
So, and the funny thing is, if I remember correctly, this is the part that I'm just going to go ahead and say this. This movie is about Elphaba, but I still believe that Ariana Grande got top billing on this movie.
No, they didn't. They literally got equal billing. That was the thing, that they got different amounts of money. But
okay,
yes,
well, okay,
there was an actual thing that said that Ariana Grande made more money, but several sources, including Universal Pictures, said no, they got the same amount of money for the movie.
Well, then anyway, yeah, okay. The movie, honestly, is about Elphaba. So we just gonna
it's
go
100% about Elphaba.
Yeah,
it's about Elphaba in the same way that Dreamgirls is about Effie.
So we just gonna go ahead and but okay.
So I think that they should both get Oscar nominations, and I don't know if they were both listed as stars or if they were co-stars.
So that's what I'm trying to figure out now. Hold on, because I'm looking at. Hold on, give me 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's see. It shows me. Well, it doesn't. Hold on. Actor. I'm looking at the salaries as well. I just wanted to see if that's listed in here. Okay, so let me see if it was reported that $1 million for the gig. Rumors claim that the We Can't Be Friends singer received a whopping $15 million for her part in the adaptation. The viral reports also shed light on the other cast members paid out salaries. Hold on. That was Cynthia Erivo. $1 million is what she got. That's what it says.
I think that's wrong. I can't imagine that they only got $1 million for making these 2 movies. So if the other movies is also 2 hours and 40 minutes, bitch, that's 6 hours worth of movies, and you only got paid $1 million for that.
Well, Michelle Yeoh and Jeff Goldblum got $2 million each.
Right, and so I can't imagine that the stars of the show got less than that. But I mean, could be, I'm not in their pockets.
Now, again, this is on some of the top sites, like Daily Mail and Cosmopolitan, stuff like that. So I'm just, unless somebody from, like you said, Universal or the studio release, hold on, let me see. Yeah. There's a couple places where it just says she only got paid $1 million and Ariana got 15. Bowen made 250,000.
Yeah. So that what you're looking at could be because I'm looking at it too from the New York Post. Ariana got 15 and Cynthia Erivo got
1 million, it says.
1 million. It said, but Universal Studios said that they got equal pay for their work on Wicked.
So that brings me to, if they say equal pay, did Cynthia get 15 and Ariana got 15? Because I'm trying to understand what that means.
I don't know, but that's what they said. So,
but here's where we are.
Right. So, well, all right, kids. Any last words? This has been a fun evening.
I just want to remind you all that we are absolutely coming to the end of our season, and that next week will be our final show for the season.
Yep.
And remember that when we come back, we will not be broadcasting the entire show, if any, on Facebook. We'll be doing it on YouTube.
Exclusively on YouTube.
Exclusively. So I'm just reminding you guys. So make sure you tune in for next week, because it's going to be our season finale. And who knows? Maybe there'll be a cliffhanger. Maybe something will happen.
I know, right? Last year there was this, that controversy.
Who knows? I mean, my child is over here in the corner looking at me crazy because I'm not giving her any attention. Maybe she has something to do. I don't know. I don't know what's going to go on, but we'll listen. We will be prepared.
Are you saying the cat is eyeing you?
I mean, that's my child. I mean, I know my child, but she also knows that I don't take no shit. So you can jump if you want to, baby. You better jump with all them claws out.
All your might.
I'm taking you down. Taking you down. But anyway, yes, tune in next week because again, like I said, it'll be our last show for the season, and we'll be able to at least wish you a happy holidays while we also take our holiday break and do things that we need to do to make us both Dominion and Epic. So I mean, that's what we do.
Hallelujah.
So, but those are my final words for today. I really appreciate you all. Today has been a really interesting day at work. It's just always stuff to do, but it's over now, and I've got to spend some time with you all. We laugh and joke about stuff, and that's where we are. But you go on and start talking, because I'm going to go ahead and get my final look again, because I want to get my presentation look again. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I am so happy that we spent this time together just to laugh and joke and sing a song or two. I don't know the words. So, where's the background singers? Baby, where's the cue cards? Where's my words? Those are very festive.
It's my Luke.
All right. And with that, we will say thank y'all for coming out. God bless you and good night.